What we got today is barbecue chicken with coleslaw mac and cheese. Now to start this off, we are gonna rough slice some onions. After we're done, we're gonna put them in a bowl and we are going to toss them with some salt so they begin to sweat. We want to use all of that onion juice to tenderize and flavor our chicken thighs. Once you've done that, we're going to proceed on to our marinade, which is going to be consisting of mayo and our favorite spice rub or spice rub you want to try. We're also going to be adding some salt and pepper right in there as well. Once you have all those ingredients perfectly incorporated, we are going to mix in our mayo-based marinade with our sliced onions that have begun to sweat. Once all the onion is coated in the marinade, we are then going to proceed of massaging the marinade into our beautiful chicken thighs. While those are going to sit in the counter and marinate, we are going to put together our glaze, which is extremely complicated. It's going to consist of your favorite barbecue sauce, your favorite hot sauce, and a little bit more of that spice mix that you put into the marinade. You don't need to add salt and pepper unless if you really want to. Following about 30 minutes at the very least, we are gonna start grilling our chicken thighs. We are going to put them over an offset setup on our charcoal grill, which means we're gonna cook them in an indirect heat until they come up to about 145, and then we're gonna put them back on the hot side and get a nice char going, get the skin crisped up, and put a little bit of color on these bad boys. As you can see, after they're on the grill, we're going to close off the air holes. After about 30 to 35 minutes, they should be looking something like that with a little bit of a goldish tint to them. That's when we're going to transfer them to the hot side, and we're going to start flipping them here in a second and let them really put on the color and crisp up the skin. Now you can flip pretty often here, as we do not want to tear the skin and we do not want to pierce the skin with the flame. We do not want it to burst as well, so don't be afraid to flip here and there. The color is going to develop. Don't worry about that too much. Now once you like the color and once the skin looks like it's bite through ready, that's when we can start glazing the chicken thighs. Right, we're going to brush them on there. Once we have them brushed on, we're going to close the lid and we're going to let them set in on each side. It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. Right, close the lid, pop them back open, flip them, glaze them once again, and just let them sit in a closed lid and let that glaze fully set in and become one with the chicken thigh. You know, once they hit about 165, chicken thigh is pretty safe. Once 165, 175, you're still gonna get that moisture out of it. They're pretty fatty. Just stamp all your meat before pulling it. Once they're looking like this, once everything is set, they've reached the proper temp, pull them out, and let's go back in the kitchen and work on our mac and cheese and our coleslaw. Alrighty, so for cheese, we are gonna go with Gruyere. We're gonna go with a block of Dublinier and some medium cheddar. But before we melt that cheese in, we're gonna make a light blonde roux that we are going to mix in with milk to make a bechamel, and then we're going to melt in the cheese into the bechamel to make it a thick cheese sauce. Now to start with the roux, we're gonna go in with some either butter or fat, and we are going to toss in the flour until it starts to turn about golden yellow colorish. That's when we're going to start whisking in the milk. And about at this step, you want to add as much milk as you want, but you want to make sure that it has a thicker paste consistency to it that's beginning to thin out before you're going to start mixing in your cheese. Remember, you can always add more milk if you need to be more liquefied. Once the bechamel has thickened up, that's when we're going to start mixing in our cheese. Make sure to go small amounts at a time so it doesn't clump up. and just keep working the whisk. It's a bit of a workout. This is when having a little bit of a beer belly helps, so you can secure your saucepan handle with that hard years of work of consumption of beer. At this point, once that cheese sauce is looking nice and thick, look at that boy. Jesus, I can't believe I made that. Whew. Always go with less mac and cheese than you think you need, because if you make too much of it, you will gain 5 pounds over a weekend. That's specifically why I always make it thin and crispy, so we don't overload on it. But here we go. So empty out your cheese sauce into the pasta container, mix everything in. Make sure everything's incorporated. Make sure every single noodle is coated in that beautiful cheese sauce. We're gonna hit it with some black pepper. We're gonna hit it with some Hungarian sweet paprika on top as well. A little bit of salt, and we're gonna mix it all in together. And we're gonna top it off with the leftover cheese on top. And we're gonna let it bake at 375 for about 25 to 30 minutes. After that, we're gonna pull it out, and we're gonna hit it with some breadcrumbs as well for another 10 to 15 minutes in the oven. Look at that mac and cheese. Cheese is beautifully melted. Those breadcrumbs gonna come into play, and then pop it back in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. For that mac and cheese right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, well, and we're moving on to the honey coleslaw, kind of the last part of the meal, but this is, I think, what really ties it all together. We're going to start off with red cabbage, white cabbage, and carrots. You know, just like any coleslaw, very, very simple. We're going to chop up the cabbage into bite-sized pieces. Once we have all of that chopped up, we are going to toss it in salt and set it over a strainer in our sink. That way we are going to withdraw the moisture and keep the cabbage crispy for our coleslaw to be enjoyable. We are going to peel our carrots and shred them. Once you have that shred, we are going to make our dressing, which is going to consist of mayo, mustard. We're going to use some honey syrup, and we're going to use some paprika as well as salt and pepper. Very, very basic. And also do not forget to add some vinegar if the acidity of the mustard isn't going to be enough. As you can see, there it is, a little bit of splash of vinegar as well, and mix it all together. Taste it, make sure it's what you want to go. Transfer it to a jar, and I like to shake mine so it emulsifies and kind of really marries together. All the ingredients, you know, get to kind of get to know each other in that jar. Grab your biggest mixing bowl, that's mine. Mix everything together. And once everything's mixed together, we're gonna add the dressing, and we are going to toss the coleslaw. Here we go. Time to plate. I'm gonna go with a large scoop of coleslaw. We're gonna go with 2 beautiful barbecue chicken thighs, and we are gonna cut up the mac and cheese into squares, and we're gonna plate 2 squares per plate. And there y'all have it. Beautiful barbecue chicken with coleslaw, mac and cheese.